We have got another subscriber question today. Stay tuned after the intro. Hey guys, ECRG here, back with another episode. Today I've got a very special question that a subscriber emailed me at eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com about. And I think this is something that a lot of people who listen to this channel and the podcast are going through, is being in a location that's not a hub, but still a pretty decent sized city, a major city, and how to get in the clinical research industry. How to break into the clinical research industry. Now, I think for this person, and I'll explain why a little bit later, it's going to be a little bit easier than other people to break in, but I'm going to go through some things that I told them through email and some tips that might help you potentially with your resume and just your overall interview and application experience to finally break through and get that job in clinical research. So this person writes in, "Good evening, ECRG. I came across your informative video on entry-level clinical research jobs." Now, by the way, if you haven't seen that video or that podcast episode, make sure you go and look at that. And it's called Entry-Level Clinical Research Jobs. That was done a few months ago at this time. So he says, "I'm a medical school graduate from a Caribbean medical school and would like to get an entry-level clinical research job. I have applied via various job platforms, but I never seem to get any breakthrough. Please, is there any way you can help me? I have little to no experience, hence the entry level, but I know I can do this and do it well. Please let me know what opportunities there are for me and how I can get in. I am based in Chicago, I'm a legal resident, and do not require any visa sponsorship. Thanks." So, he's got a lot of good things going for him. One, he was a Caribbean medical school graduate, so that's good. That means he's going to have a good clinical background. The other thing he says is he's looking for entry-level position, so that's good. He's not coming in trying to be like a project manager with no experience because he has a degree, or trying to be a, data manager or whatever. So he knows that he has no experience, so he's trying to come in at the entry level. So that's good. And the other thing he's got going for him is he's based in a major city like Chicago, which is going to have more opportunities than some random city in like South Dakota or something. And then he also says he's a legal resident and does not require visa sponsorship. So this is good. I think a lot of people might get in trouble by requiring that visa sponsorship. And, if there's a pool of applicants, let's say, all relatively about the same level of competency. I mean, this is entry level after all about the same level of competency. They're probably going to choose the person that does not require the visa sponsorship at that level. Now, if you're a head biostatistician, if you're a data manager, they might work with you a little bit more on the visa sponsorship aspect than if you were just an entry level opportunity person. If anyone has had any success with that in the entry-level position, please comment down below or shoot me an email. I would love to hear your story based on that, because I've been getting a lot of questions regarding the visa sponsorship and how that works and how to change countries in the clinical research field. And I can only give as little advice as I can on that because I don't have much experience with that myself. So if you have experience, please let me know your experience with that, and I'd love to share that with the rest of the audience. So basically what I would advise this person is the same thing I would advise other people, is to use Indeed, look for a job that you're interested in. So they're looking for entry level. So clinical trial assistant, study coordinator. Study coordinator would be a great job in Chicago because there are a lot of hospitals. They do a lot of research. You've got all those medical universities there. Study coordinator would be great entry into the field. I've actually got a couple friends who made their way in study coordinator in Chicago and have actually moved states since then, but they were able to get a study coordinator job there. I do know there's recruiters there. You can check out Beacon Hill Pharma. That's BEACON. Check out their website. They are recruiting for entry-level jobs in the Chicago area. There are probably other recruiting companies that do it also, but I know Beacon Hill Pharma is one. So check out their website and check out their jobs on Indeed. So look at Indeed, look for jobs in that area if you have to be in that area. Specifically, it's better if you can move, be quite honest with you. It's better if you have the ability to move and you can just take whatever job comes your way. So if you want to do that, put on your resume that you are willing to move and at your expense. That makes it even better. So Chicago, you want to do study coordinator, clinical trial assistant is a good one, or any of the other entry-level jobs. You will have opportunity there. Do not hesitate to take a contract. When you're in the entry-level role or trying to get an entry-level position, you take whatever is given, whether it's an internship, whether it's a contract that they're going to be paying you $11 an hour. Remember, guys, I tell you this all the time. I got my start in the industry as a contractor. It was like a 2-3 month contract, and with maybe a possibility for renewal. It wasn't even guaranteed. It ended up getting renewed for an extra month, but it was not even guaranteed. That's how I got my experience. And so then I rolled that experience into more experience, and now eventually I'm a CRA. So that's how you got to do it. You got to get in where you fit in and take that experience and get more experience with it. It becomes a lot easier after you get that initial experience. So don't try and wait for the perfect job. That's not a good idea. Just try and get in where you fit in. What else did he say? So, yes, that's what I would do. Also, one of the things you got to do is go onto these CROs if you want to work at a CRO. Go onto the hospital website if you want to work at the hospital where their career pages are, and check every single day. They update these pages every single day. So you've got to check every single day. And I think a lot of people aren't doing that. You've got to go on there and check every single day. I'm going to continue to hammer this home because they update the portal usually every day, if not every other day. And those jobs come out quick. And just judging by the number of people that email me, this is a very competitive field. It's becoming more and more competitive every single day. So, you're not the only person applying for this job. There's many people applying. And if the job's been up for a few days already, they're probably already starting to email people and do recruiter screens. So really you want to check every single day, make sure you're one of the first few people to apply. And that's true for any of the jobs, any of the platforms. Indeed, Monster, Glassdoor. Make sure that you're checking every single day and are ready to apply at a moment's notice as soon as you see the job. I've literally applied for jobs before, and within an hour or two, they're already reaching out for a recruiter screen. Like literally it seems like, wow, I just applied for this like 30 minutes ago and they've already been reaching out. So you want to make sure you're applying for these jobs consistently throughout the day and you're able to apply at a moment's notice. And it's good if you have a smartphone because then you can apply, you can have your resume saved, you can upload it, you can do your thing, you can apply right then and there. And that's what you want to do. Also, a lot of people get frustrated. I should have asked this person how many jobs they've applied to thus far because that's a key indicator. The goal is 200 club. You have to become a member of the 200 club, 200 jobs. So do not get mad or frustrated if you have not applied to 200 jobs at least. That's what it's going to take. I applied to about 200, 220 before I finally got a good job. I've done multiple interviews, but about 200 jobs before you can finally get a good, consistent entry-level job. Now, once you start hitting 100, you should be getting some feedback back. You should definitely be getting some rejections. That's good. That's part of the process. You should be getting rejections. Recruiters should be reaching out to you. You should be having some conversations. You should start seeing some movement there after 100 jobs. But you should actually get after about 150 to 200, more leaning towards 200. You will have an offer. You will have a good job or a decent. You should have your opportunity by 200 jobs. And that may be amended here. This is 2018 at the recording of this video. This is September 2018. 2019, 2020, we could be saying something completely different. We could be seeing a completely different industry by then. So take this with a grain of salt if you're listening in the future. Another thing I wanted to add was he says he's a Caribbean medical school student grad. So I'm imagining he's put that he's got his degree on there. He's got a doctorate degree. So the problem with people that are, let's say, dentists, DO, I get emails from DO doctors. I get emails from obviously a lot of Caribbean medical students and Caribbean medical degree holders. The problem is when you apply for these jobs, they're thinking that you're overqualified. They're thinking that they're gonna have to overpay you for this entry-level job when you have that degree on there. So this is something that you might want to amend. You might either want to leave it off, depending on the job you're applying for. Maybe for a study coordinator, you would leave it on. Maybe you would amend it to saying a master's degree in whatever, which is actually, I don't know if that's possible. I don't see why there'd be a problem, because it's like you're saying less than you actually have. It's like, wow, I've actually got a doctorate, but I'm saying I got a master's for this job. But maybe say you have a master's degree, but they're probably thinking they're gonna have to overpay you for that job, and they're not gonna select you. They're thinking that you're overqualified. So that's something you want to keep in mind when you have a lot of degrees trying to get an entry-level job. Another thing you could do is potentially use that degree and try and get a sub-I, try and be a sub-I on a study. Maybe if you want to work as an MD for a few years or a year, it'd be a lot easier to kind of back your way into clinical research. After that, that's a lot of good thing. If you're an MD and wanting to get into the clinical research, the pharma side, one of the best ways to do that is to be a sub-I on some studies first, and then maybe either be a PI or then take that clinical research experience and parlay that into an industry job. So that's what I'd recommend. Maybe if you still have any connection to that Caribbean Medical School, maybe they have some opportunities for you to get involved in clinical research also. So that's something you want to keep in mind. But other than that, I think you've got a good opportunity ahead of you. I don't know how long you've been applying for, but just keep it up. It took me about 3 months before I finally got a job. So look for 200 jobs, about 3 months. Some will be quicker, I'm sure. Some will be longer, I'm sure. But definitely take that opportunity when it comes. If you have any other questions, if you need help with your resume. Another thing that I forgot to mention earlier is if you are applying for a lot of jobs and you're not hearing anything back, part of the problem could be your resume. And it may just be getting lost, or it may just not be good enough. It may not be, you may not have highlighted your experience and your expertise enough. And we can help with that. So email us, eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com, if you want any help with your resume. If you feel like your resume is lackluster, if you feel like it could use some enhancement, and you really don't really know what your strengths and weaknesses are, you feel like you don't highlight that enough in your resume, we can help that. We'll bring it out for you. And you can email us, eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com. We'll take care of it. And also, if you want any interview prep, you can email us there also. Take care, guys.